Alright, this video is on replacing the bushing that goes on the striker plate of a Mustang or most other vehicles. If your door doesn't close or if your door is wobbling around, rocking around, it's probably the bushing. You can see over here that this one is cracked a little bit, and when the door latches, the door mechanism will go over this and lock down. And if the bushing is worn out or gone, then there's a lot of play in there, and the door will wobble around or it will not close. Same for the back hatch on the Mustangs and most other hatch vehicles. So I'm going to show you what the part looks like. Alright, this is what the part looks like. That's the bushing. I wrote down the dimensions, and of course I didn't bring them with me when I went to do the job. So I'll get you the info if you need it. Don't leave me a comment, leave me an inbox message and I'll get you the info, or maybe I'll put it on the video. I tried to make this bushing with 1/2-inch PVC pipe, and even though it's supposed to be 1/2 inch inside, it was wobbling around. This bushing's about 1/2 inch inside, give or take a couple thousandths of an inch. 1/2-inch PVC is much bigger than 1/2 inch, even though it's not supposed to be that much bigger. And it didn't work. It took me forever to cut it and to file it down, and then it wobbled around. So I just spent the $3.99 to buy this thing. And what you're going to need is a T50 Torx tool. I bought this at Pep Boys. They've got a lifetime warranty. If it breaks, return it. And it had the best reviews online for the Torx T50. Everything else, all the other reviews I read for other companies, they said it broke when they were trying to remove it, remove the T50 bolt, striker bolt, in a car, because there's a lot of torque on these things. So I bought this for like $5 at Pep Boys. Of course, I don't know where I put my receipt now, so if it breaks, I'm screwed. So you're going to need the T50, you're going to need your 3/8 inch socket wrench, you're going to need your bushing. I'll get you dimensions if you don't want to spend the $3.99. You can make your own. This thing's about 7/8 of an inch long, about 1/2 inch in diameter, inside dimension, not outside. So, alright, what else do we need to do? The other thing that you're going to need to do, which is really important, unless you want to cause yourself a lot of problems down the line, is mark where this plate is on your vehicle, because this is how your door closes. You need proper alignment. Believe me, if this thing is off a fraction of an inch, it is not going to close at all. So you need to make sure that you've got this thing marked. Take the time, mark it in different areas so that you're going to be able to be sure this thing is assembled properly. If you don't do it, you might be lucky, but you're probably going to regret not doing it. So mark it in different areas with, I'm going to do a little white marker. Mark it, and then it's time to take it out. Alright, you should be able to see how I've marked it with a white marker, just so that I can hopefully get this thing back in and the door will close properly. And then I'm going to take the T50 tool, and I'm going to need 2 hands for this, so you're not going to be able to watch me undo this. Okay, here's what we've got. We've got the striker plate, and we've got the bolt, and then there's a washer that's behind that, and the bushing, and this whole thing unscrews. So I'm going to unscrew that right now. Make sure you lay these down on a table so that you can put them together properly, and let me show you one other thing. That is where the bolt screws in, so a nut's not going to fall back when you remove this thing, but this is why you need to mark this thing, because this nut back here flops all over the place, and it's meant so that you can get the proper adjustment and alignment so the door closes. If it's too high, the door is not going to latch. If it's too low, it won't latch. If it's too far out, it's not going to close, or the door might be too high up as it tries to close. So I'm going to unscrew the parts now, and then we'll see what it looks like. Okay, the first step, I unscrewed this washer. Let me try to get a little more light. Is that better? No, I'm blocking the light. Sorry. Alright, so I unscrewed this washer, and now I've got to unscrew this bolt, the striker bolt, and because that's threaded too. And then, not easy to do this with one hand while I'm recording, and I should be using the tripod, but oops. Okay, so that piece is going to go like that. So this is what we're left with is, that's the screw, that's the bushing. You can see the bushing's chipped, and the bushing will come off, and then I'll put a new one on. Alright, the bushing's off. Let's compare these two. And you can see length is a little shorter than the original, not by much. Maybe the original's compressed. That's probably what it is. Thickness. Let's look at the thickness. You can see how much it's worn down. And the inside diameter, you can see how the whole thing's worn down. So I'm going to put this on the bolt now, and then we'll continue. Okay, remember I said I used 1/2-inch PVC, and it was really wobbly. It was very wobbly. It wouldn't work, not worth the time and trouble. This item is perfect fit. It's going to go on here right now, and it's a tight fit. You can see I'm struggling with 2 fingers to try to get this to go on. So it's a tight fit. Let me push this on. There we go. It is on. It is right at the right location at the end of the thick part of the bolt. And then I'm going to screw this into, I'm going to thread this into the striker plate, and then I'm going to thread it into the washer, and then everything should be ready to put it in the door, align it, and tighten it down. Alright, I took the bushing, put it on the bolt, and then screwed it into the striker, or whatever that is, the striker plate. And then I put this outer washer on there, and you can see that it looks like it's, well, it is, it's definitely the right thickness. When everything tightens down, it is not going to be too big, and it's not flopping around, which means that it will go into the door latch properly. So it's time to screw this thing in and align it with the white lines that I've got there, and then hopefully everything's going to work. Okay, it's almost done. It did not want to thread into the nut inside the door. Be really careful. You don't want to strip this nut or you're screwed. Because I don't know how they opened this thing up to put a new nut inside there. So, took some time and finally got the inside nut to stop wobbling around. It threaded. It looks good. I'm going to put on my magnifier visor so I can get this perfectly lined up. I probably should have marked this even better, but I'm going to put it in, tighten it down, and then see if the door closes. Alright, you can see that it's all closed up. The bushing's in there, the bushing turns, so it's the perfect length, perfect diameter, not a lot of slop. Took a little bit of time to get everything lined up, but you can see it's lined up fairly well, like it was originally. So now it's time to see if this thing worked and if it's going to latch the first time. Alright, here we go. Big test to see if it's going to latch. When I did the PVC pipe, it wouldn't latch. The door jumped back, so here it goes. Doesn't want to latch 100%. And that is the problem with the alignment part that I was telling you about. So this is going to take me a while to align this thing. That is how you do the bushing replacement on this type of a door. And your biggest problem is going to be alignment at the end. Alright, I got it to close. The problem was this latch was a little bit higher. I really didn't mark that too well. So I straightened it up a little bit. I moved it back. You can see how much further back I had to move it. And the door closes now. Alright, I did a little bit more adjusting to make this thing proper. What was going on, it was angled a little bit up too much like this, so I straightened it out. It was like this. I straightened this piece out, and it latches perfectly now. So I want to prove that what I just did is real, so here we go. Perfect. Okay, here's the video for the second door. You can see the washer is much better, but it's still pretty worn out. I marked the striker plate a little bit better, not by much, but a little bit. And on the top and the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, top and bottom. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the T50 and I'm going to stick it into striker. I'm going to remove the bolt, remove the bushing, remove the washer behind the striker plate, and then put on the new bushing. Alright, just like the other door, you see that we have the washer on the right side that's going to be threaded off, and then you unthread the bolt, and then your bushing will come off, and then you put on your new bushing. Okay, here we have the new bushing and the old bushing. You can see the bushing over here is much thicker on the right than it was on the other door. Probably doesn't need to be replaced. It's not cracked like the other one was, but I'm going to do them both at the same time, and then I'm going to save the old parts just in case I run into problems, that at least I will have something to put on the door. So, take your bolt. Yeah, difficult with one hand, let me tell you. Take the bolt, put the bushing on it, and then you thread it back into this, and then you thread this washer on, and then you screw it into the door. Okay, final result of the hatchback. The hatchback was extremely difficult to do, very simple to get out the striker. Once I put on the bushing, I couldn't get the door to latch. It would not latch at all. I wasn't sure if the latch was broken or if the striker wasn't positioned properly. Luckily, I was able to drive over to my auto mechanic, and he did the exact same thing that I did. He tightened the screw, and it closed right away. So maybe I was just in a rush. I was worried that I was going to have a broken hatch for the whole night. So do this early in the day so you don't have to worry about leaving your vehicle unattended and unlocked or opened. These are the dimensions of the bushing. This is the length, you know, how long the whole thing is. That is the outside diameter of the bushing, and then the opening, that's the inside diameter. The original inside diameter was 0.510. The replacement varied from 0.490 to 0.505 inches. So make sure that you find a half-inch piece of material inside diameter if you're going to do this yourself. It's kind of ridiculous to spend $4 per bushing, so you know, it's not my money, but if I can help you save some bucks, good for me, good for you. Outside diameter was 0.693 on the original, 0.700 to 0.715. That's pretty important too, because if the outside diameter is too thick, then then this thing's not going to fit into either the opening on the latch or on either the door or the hatchback. So you need to make sure that this round thing is not too wide on the outer dimension. So both of these things are fairly important. As I said originally, I did PVC pipe, and if you look over here, PVC pipe outside diameter was 0.942, and you can look at the numbers over there for outside diameter, 0.942. 0.842. I can't read. Okay, outside diameter was 0.842. You look over here, that's way too big. I mean, that is like 0.15 bigger. It's like a tenth of an inch bigger, rounder, and there's no way that the bushing is going to fit inside the latch so that the door closes. Inside diameter on the PVC was 0.590. Inside diameter should be 0.5, so that was almost a tenth of an inch slop that the bushing was flopping around on the striker bolt. And that's why if you think you're going to buy a half-inch PVC pipe and do this on your own, you were wrong. You're going to have to find some other pipe that has these dimensions of half-inch, very critical, that half-inch on the inside diameter, because you can't have this thing flopping around. There's just no way. and length 0.890, and the original was 0.945. The original 0.945, that's on the door. Now, if you saw my video, the striker bushing needs to be a little bit longer on the hatchback. It doesn't need to be. I mean, it works. The thing works perfectly because the latch doesn't even hit the striker at the part where it's not covered. So you can use the things you can buy on the internet for $3.99 if you want to, or if you make your own, or you can make it a little bit bigger. I would give you the length of that, except the bushing's sitting in my car, and I don't want to unlock it tonight just in case it doesn't want to latch. I don't want to leave it parked unattended with it not locked, and I don't want to slam that thing anymore. But it looked like it worked today. I closed it 4 times with the mechanic, and everything worked fine. And no, he didn't charge me because he realized it was a lame. I had the tool, he just went over there and tightened it again, and everything worked. So I was, like I said, I was just in a rush to make sure it worked. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'm going to put this on both the video for the hatchback replacement bushing and the door replacement bushing. So you're going to get this info for both of those. This does work. It will make it easier to close your doors and your hatchback. Alignment is a pain in the ass. Don't think that it isn't. You might be lucky, but I had to adjust all 3 of these strikers, the striker plate, so that it closed properly. I kept on slamming the door shut until finally I had everything positioned right. Good luck, and this is an easy to do thing. It is just, the replacement will take you less than about 2 to 3 minutes at the most, and the alignment hopefully will not take you a long time. Alignment on my door probably took 10 minutes on the first one. Once I figured out how to line things up a little better, even though I had everything marked, once I figured out how to line things up, alignment on the second door was probably 2 minutes, and then I messed with it a little bit till I got it to latch better. And it still doesn't latch 100%. A couple times today I've closed the door and I needed more force than usual, and then it closes perfectly. And it looks really good. It closes the way it should be, but it's not an easy just touch that door and it closes. What else? Of course, it also doesn't have some grease or lubricant on there, and it's just it's a new bushing. I probably don't have the thing 100% lined up the way it should be, but it's working and I'm happy. As far as the hatch, like I told you, that was very difficult to do. And I saw a video on here where the guy pops a little piece of tubing on there and shuts his door and everything works fine. That is not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to align that easily. But you can do this, and you will be happy once you do. So buy the parts, make your own bushing, whatever you want to do, and hopefully this video helped.